jumping back in from where I left off. I need to make it back to third board. Sadly, last time we sacrificed a couple of people. I think 36 people out of the town of Thirdborn were sacrificed to get rid of the Dream Scourge from ever spreading again in Shatterscar.
Gods,
But it also took some of the...
more dead. The Dream Scourge are gone. But at what cost?
What do you mean at what cost? I think it was a fair trade. 36 people out of that town, maybe 12 people out of you, and then Stilgarrote lost people as well. But that means no more people here are being infected, and those infected aren't killing anybody else. How is this a bad thing? Am I the only one who thinks this? We saved this place. Otherwise, more people could have been infected and just overall completely taken out. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it's, sadly, something that had to happen. I'm not diminishing the fact that people did die. They did. People, sadly, had to make the sacrifice. But overall, instead of the, 50 people at most, could have been every single person. Everybody could have perished. I'm glad that it didn't happen. And if I have to be the bad guy, I have to be the bad guy.
It's you! You're the monster who got us kicked out of Third Board.
We're sorry about your brother, but it's a wonder your own schemes didn't do that sooner.
What do you have against honest businessmen?
We met because you tried to rope me into your illegal scheme.
You can't fast-talk me, you fiend! I demand compensation!
I know you're upset, Tycho, but they seem like they're really strong.
Jeez, please don't undermine me in front of them. You have to make things right by me. By us, I mean.
If you had known, if I had, you wouldn't have said anything. I'm sorry. I mean,
Don't try to play games with us. We can take you.
Last time you said that, you tried to take Temuco the tower. For your own sake, don't do this.
Daiko, this might be a bad idea. I mean, I'm good with the blade on dead targets, but...
You too? Fine. That kind of takes the wind out of my sails.
Thank you. I'm glad today didn't end in bloodshed.
Maybe the next time we all meet, we can just have a lovely drink, or I can dissect you. Either one.
I'll take the drink.
Well, go on, get out of here, before I change my mind. And if we ever do meet again, well, you can forget about that discount.
okay. Well, I'm glad nobody else had to die.
Watch your back out here, traveler. Temerity sent word. She said you can go. I'm sorry, Envoy. I don't have much more to say. You were responsible for all this death. But I hope you don't end up the same way, too.
Thank you. Man, this is rough. I mean, that guy's fair enough. It was our fault.
Ludwig may have a skull for a face, but her fury was clear enough. If her path crosses ours again, it'll be ugly.
Frankly, I'll take any opportunity we get to ruin Ludwig's day.
I'll say this much for the Inquisitor. She's stubborn, like a rat. We've thwarted her twice now, but she keeps burrowing deeper into the living lands.
I'd say we shouldn't stay on her bad side, but I'm not sure she has any other sides.
You know her better than any of us. What's your read?
She's a good servant of the Empire. She's just extreme. Yeah. I think her heart's in the right place, but she's doing it all wrong.
Yet she's got nothing but contempt for men like Hilgard, agents of Adir who are bound, at least in part, by its laws. There's nothing more dangerous than a loyal fanatic who answers to no one.
Well, the joke's on her in any case. Ludwig won't get very far without that map. She'll be scratching her skull.
Somehow, I don't think she'll let that stop her for long.
And Ludwig definitely strikes me as someone who doesn't leave food on her plate.
I might have bitten off now.
But will she do the same? I think not. Violence may be inevitable.
Ludwig
Yeah,
and her
maybe
steel
true.
garrote have the numbers and the power. But we have spunk and a map. And that might just be enough to find the garden before she does.
We're all competing for the same thing. A place we barely understand, with no guarantees of what we'll find there. Still, I am determined to reach the garden, above all else.
Ugh, that's just a pile of Sokka. Generally, debatable, but about the garden, definitely. You won't find a blessed thing. This wild beetle chase of yours is a Page-Raku waste of time. To get to the garden, you have to go through Galawain's tusks. The land is made of lava and acid. It wants to eat you alive.
So it's tough odds. We've gotten this far together.
Tough odds is an extra Zarb jumping in at the last minute. This is a long trek, on foot, through a land that can barely support life. I don't have to be a Blessed Oracle to know this won't go how you think it will.
Yeah.
And all your clues come from one source. You've been following a voice in your head. What do you know about Soppadal? How do you know you can trust them?
Truth is, I'm not sure I can anymore. But I have a job to do, and I don't have time for it. No. They saved my life. They're not just in my head. They have a powerful connection to the Audra here.
I hate to be the voice of reason, but we are talking about a god. There are limits to what we can even comprehend.
I have a powerful connection to my Blessed flute, but I'm not about to take orders from it.
What's on your mind, Marius? What bothers you so?
Because I can scream until I'm blue in the face, and you people would still rather trust the Envoy's pet headache demon. And now you want to drag us through the deadliest region in the world because a sleeping god said so.
But yeah.
Oh, I've been acting odd. Me. Need I remind you that we're talking about jumping off a cliff because your head voices tell us to? I'm done here. Do whatever blessed planning you want to do. You don't need me for that.
Let's just take a breath, Marius. You don't mean that.
Nope. I said what I said. Come get me when it's time to go.
Poor Marius. Some things really rattled him.
I've never seen Marius like this. Something's going on with him, but I don't know what.
I'll have to put him down.
Be gentle with him. Or if not gentle, understanding.
Well, hopefully Marius will be okay soon.
He comes at me like that
We have
again,
to
I'm
get
putting
going
him
if we want to get
down.
to the garden before Ludwig.
We won't get far unless we look after each other. Now's your chance.
I feel like I need to talk to all my companions. I guess I'll start with Giada.
We should keep feeding the fire. I've heard the Wardens are very set in their ways. For better or worse. Usually the worse. Vidaro tried to form a trade agreement with the Council. Copper and glass in exchange for grain. But it went nowhere. They weren't interested in outside help. The Wardens value self-reliance. Maybe because they have an inflated sense of their own importance. No offense, Marius.
No, you pretty much got it right.
They have a righteous duty to protect these lands, and believe that it can and should be done without the help of outsiders. It's a bit like shooting yourself in the foot because you don't trust anyone else to wield the gun. You want to talk? Let's talk. Anyone in particular? I warn you, I'm not the best judge of first impressions. Of course, she's brilliant, open to anything, and sees the world as she wants it to be. Yatsley gave me my first glass of wine, and the courage to approach a special someone. We have a lot of catching up to do.
Oh.
Indeed, old friends. When they died, Yatsley protected me. Made sure I had one consistent person in my life. I think that's why she gave me that glass of wine. Why she encouraged me to live my life to the fullest. She was making sure I hit all the milestones I could have missed. No one to get jealous over. To call it a relationship would be an insult to the word. But it was fun while it lasted.
Jealous.
Animancy is the study of life. Unfortunately, we get so busy that we forget to live. So a little roll in the hay is good for the soul. Yatsley taught me that. Well, not the part about rolling in the hay. That was my idea, and I don't recommend it. Now that she's traveling with us, maybe she can teach you a thing or two.
Rolling
I
in
think
hay
that
does
covers
indeed
everyone.
suck.
And if my good opinion changes, you'll be the
It is
first to hear
so
about
itchy.
it. I suppose you deserve to know, after what I put you through. My mother wanted to expand Fiore's agriculture. Feeding Emerald Stair wasn't ambitious enough. She wanted to feed the world. She thought she could break the wilderness, using animancy as the whip. Turn the living lands into a garden.
Fair enough.
Anything's possible, but there are significant problems to overcome. After my father put the finishing touches on the phantasmal focus, she was impatient to get started. After all, whoever controls the spirit of the living lands has nature in the palm of their hand. My father thought so too. Emerald Stair was just the beginning to her. My father thought she was brilliant. Others thought she was mad. I think she was a victim of her own ambition. She wanted so much, and there was so little time to achieve it. Theoretically, her plan should have worked. But the living lands had other ideas. When she used the phantasmal focus, theory collided with reality. Everything went wrong. I was 17.
Dang.
That makes it... Gods, has it been 13 years already? After they died, I wouldn't go near a lab.
You're 30?
It was ages before Kolichi got me to crack open a book.
I would have thought
I
25.
have a lot of catching up to do in my studies. Need to make up for lost time.
Okay.
It's just a tool. Even a wool scarf is dangerous in the wrong hands. Besides, studying a pillar of Adra is not the same as prying apart the fabric of the living lands. My mother learned that the hard way.
You're using it as a weapon, though.
No. To my knowledge, the accident was no everyday occurrence. But neither was the experiment. My mother transgressed on nature, on existence itself. Still, I don't understand what went wrong. When I do, then I can finish her work. I can't rule anything out, but I suspect the Dream Scourge had something to do with it. It lives in the essence of the living lands, corrupting whatever it touches. And if I'm right, that means it's been here a long time. Or the forces behind it. That's all I care to say for now. At least, about this topic. I thought my family's research could help Emeralds there. That it could banish the Dream Scourge from our lands. Of course, Vidaro wouldn't even give me a chance. He was afraid of history repeating itself. Still, I'm hopeful. This legacy of mine could change Animancy as we know it. And something tells me I'm close to a breakthrough. Closer than my mother ever got.
I don't know if you're closer.
I hardly think your Emperor would approve. Good thing he's on the other side of the world. No Animancer has engineered an ecosystem before. Maybe, with a little luck, I could be the first. You have an inquisitive mind. I respect that. If you ever feel your education is missing something, I'd be happy to teach you what I know. All you have to do is ask.
After everything we've seen?
The better question is, can I still be an Animancer? Could I even make a difference? As long as Fior Messiverno is safe, the living lands will have Animancers, whether or not I am one of them. And then there's the Dream Scourge, unraveling civilization as we know it. I don't know where that leaves me. The work my parents started may have no end in sight. We don't even know if the living lands can be tamed politically, much less spiritually.
Fair enough.
She thought a lot of things. Not all of them were true. All I know for certain is that I've been going about this the wrong way. I
It's
should
so
be an
negative.
Animancer for the right reason. With the Dream Scourge, I haven't got one.
We better stop yeah.
At least someone thinks so. Thank you for believing in me, whether or not I believe in myself. Now that you mention it, I did try and awaken my soul to become fully aware of my past lives. Every Animancer tries and fails. It's practically a rite of passage. So, one evening, I crept into the workshop and cobbled an invention together from spare parts. Amateur work. Then I turned it on. Big mistake. The next thing I knew, it was morning. I was floating in the fountain, and my head was pounding like a drum.
You don't need animancy for that. Just rum and a crew on shore leave.
That answers a lot of questions, honestly.
Oh, the Magpie's lemonade will do that to you.
Sometimes I wonder, what if it actually worked?
The
What if all
Magpie's
of this happened
lemonade?
before, and I'm just
Dang.
reliving the events of a past life? I try not to think about it too much.
Okay, fair enough.
Ah, a simple question with a very complicated answer. The device is attuned to the spiritual energy of the living lands, much like a compass to magnetic north. But essence is chaotic by nature. As you saw with your own eyes, imposing order on chaos is not without risk.
Something doesn't want us.
Not for long. Don't get me wrong, this invention is a small miracle, but it isn't enough. The phantasmal focus was supposed to be the start of something grand. One lever of a device that exists only in theory. Perhaps it should remain that way. Excellent. The Imperial Court taught you well, but I suspect there were gaps in what they call an education. If there's anything you've been dying to learn from an animancer, now is the time.
Okay. Sharpens their mind. Want to learn how to stand up for yourself with an ironclad will. Whatever you can teach me.
Very well. Hold your questions to the end if you don't mind. Otherwise, I'll lose my train of thought. Now, let's begin. You drifted off for a moment. Were you paying attention? Really? What's the last thing I said? Oh, I stand corrected. Even if you had dozed off, no harm done.
That's hilarious. That was a good
Besides,
guess.
a little nap is good for the soul. I slept through my share of lectures, and look how I turned out. That's all I have to teach you for now. I'll chime in if anything else comes to mind. Until next time.
What'd that give me? What'd that give me? Anything? Maybe intellect and resolve? Ah, I was right. Okay. Well, I guess I'll talk to Kai.
How is it that the air up here is both thinner and thicker? Never. The Pargrunen of Solace are notoriously suspicious of outsiders. Though, from the looks of this place, Solace's real concern has got to be keeping its people in, not keeping the rest of us out. So did my commanding officers.
Dang.
Yeah, it happens. Sharing the road and sharing each other's battles. But out of all the people I've fought alongside, I haven't gotten to know many of them as well as you. You always know what to do. It's like you've got an internal compass guiding you. Not many people have such a clear sense of direction, especially in situations as complicated as these. I never thought I'd feel this at ease again with anyone else, much less myself. But you helped me face loss, regret. After drifting for a long time, I finally feel like I belong again. So are you. I don't say that lightly. So whatever you need, whatever it takes to finish this journey, I'm with you. To the end. What gave it away? My finely pointed teeth, or the striking blue of my scales? Fair enough. My people are known to roam. Almost as much as Marius's more far-flung brethren outside the living lands.
I feel like I should have.
Sounds like Pargrunen elsewhere know better than to stay cooped up in a keep somewhere.
Rauatai's hardly a hospitable environment. Many of us end up settling elsewhere or making a living on the go. That's where you get the popular image of the Amawa bodyguard or mercenary. Then you must have come during our sunny season. Lashed by storms and battered by waves. We call it the rough country. And old trenchers say it's made us who we are. You'd fit right in with the Ranganui's inner circle. It's true that the same things that make Rauatai a difficult place to live have shaped our people and our kingdom. Our coral masons have built living harbors and fortifications along the coast to protect our ships and shelter our cities. For all our shortage of fertile soil, Rauatai's land is abundant in saltpeter, copper, iron, most of the other materials you need to outfit your military with weapons and cannons. We value struggling and striving together. It helped us survive and build one of the most powerful navies in Aora. It's been hard-won across a variety of conquests, cooperatives, and trading colonies. Some of the traditionalists worry that prosperity is making us as complacent and soft-handed as our rivals. Same as traditionalists everywhere. Me, I prefer the simplicity of the living lands. Kill the thing that's trying to kill you, and hope it has some edible meat on it. You're asking me? I'm not much of a gossip. Okay, who do you want to know about?
I've never asked him.
Long enough that he's got a good roster of stories about my blunders in the wilds, which he'll remind us of constantly. He's got a soft heart under that gruff exterior. He feels things more deeply than he lets on, so if he burns the stew one evening, maybe don't mention it. That's just how he shows affection. He's deeply loyal to people once he gets to know them, and he likes companionship more than he lets on. He just has a funny way of showing it. I think he left Galawain's tusks suddenly, and under unfortunate circumstances. He's never spoken directly about it, but that's what I put together, and it explains a lot. Losing home, losing the people who gave you a sense of yourself, it leaves a mark. But don't tell him I told you that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, given everything that comes with being an envoy, I bet that's especially refreshing for you. And don't worry if he starts badgering you. It's his way of showing he cares. She's got a lot of heart, and she's loyal to her people and their principles, even when it costs her. Giada's lost her home, but kept her resolve. It takes a special kind of person to weather what she has and emerge stronger for it. She'll have a lot to figure out after all this, but she's gonna be okay. I noticed that too. It says a lot. I can't say what I'd want the future of Animancy to look like, but there's no one I'd trust more than Giada to figure it out. You know, just when I was thinking our little group was getting too solemn and serious, we met her. I'm not so sure about the new friend she's making. Ringram's a dangerous maniac, and I don't like the influence she has over Yatsley. And I couldn't believe how ready she was to sacrifice Shatterscarp as part of that Archmage's spell. I'm still shaking that one off, to be honest. But
fair enough.
She keeps things interesting and keeps us on our toes. What's more, she's a good friend to Giada. And Giada's a good influence on her.
Is that all? Because I thought you two were flirting earlier. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I just hope she keeps some part of herself grounded with the rest of us. She's brilliant, but I worry that the real-world consequences of the forces she plays with are academic to her. Okay, but only if you let me turn that question around once I've answered you.
Okay.
I think you've been trusted with a nearly impossible task. When we first met, I thought that was because you made some powerful enemies back home. But as I've gotten to know you, I think that if anyone can stop the Dream Scourge, it's you. What's more, you've got your head and your heart in the right place. You haven't let your duties or loyalties get in the way of being decent and reasonable. More importantly, though, you've been a true friend to me. At the end of
Oh,
the
yeah.
day, I'm proud to fight alongside you. And there you have it. Your turn now.
I trust on the battle no matter. I can count on you. Level head and even temper as much time as we're spending together is important. Frankly, I don't see eye to eye with you, but I appreciate no.
Wow. There was a time I would have brushed that off. Before you helped me at Tama's memorial. That's about the highest compliment you could give me. Thank you. Really. Sure. I'm well past seconds myself, if we're counting. Even decent people make mistakes, and the rest of us can grow, with a little time and grace. Even if it weren't, I'd rather be wrong than cynical. Anyway, if this place can't give us misfits and screw-ups a second chance, what hope do we have?
Yeah.
I joined up with the Raotai Navy as soon as I was old enough. I was part of our campaign to establish a foothold in the Deadfire Archipelago. Starting out, it was exciting, purposeful. I
think
believed
I need to
in
play
our
Pillars
mission.
of Eternity.
We were returning to our ancestral homeland,
When did that come
reclaiming
out?
fertile soil that would feed Raotai. Additionally, we were helping Deadfire, bringing organization to the pirate-ridden archipelago and civilization to our distant Wana cousins.
2015, that's it.
To Adir bringing order and civilization to our lawless frontier? Then I hope you learn from my mistakes faster than I did. The Huana didn't want us there. We spent almost as much time fighting the tribes as we did pirates and Wilder. And it was hard to see how any of our fighting and dying was feeding people back home. I'd always heard that war was supposed to temper us, strengthen us, but I didn't see that either. Some fell apart. Some bought into the cruelty that our continued presence required. Others didn't buy into it, but went along with it anyway. And that bothered me more somehow. I deserted. And I bounced between different mercenary companies for almost 10 years. Hey, not all of us catch on so quick. Besides, there were only so many options for a Raotai deserter with no training and anything else. As a mercenary, I figured I could at least choose my battles and my crew.
Fair enough.
I ended up here, didn't I? It was more of the same. The only comfort was being part of a squad. By the time I came to the Living Lands, I'd seen enough. Had enough. I did. I found a good home in Thirdborn.
Oh,
And a
I'm
place
so
in your squad.
sorry.
Look, if I can give you some hard-won advice, stay on your toes. You're in a difficult position. Whatever your role asks of you, make sure it's something you're willing to give. Because you're the one who has to live with the consequences. Hey, advice is easy. The hard part's all you.
Yeah.
Sure. What's on your mind? Night, envoy.
They
Okay,
really
yeah,
must
your
stop
turn.
meeting like this. People will talk. We've been traveling together for a little while. I just have to know. Did you purposefully choose such colorful company, or is that just what you attract naturally? I mean, I'm very clearly a delight, so it's obvious why you let me stick around. But Kai's hiding a lot behind that humor of his, isn't he? Thinking that that could be Quilici in me is not something I want to think about. And Marius, I don't know what's lurking in him, but I do think he should speak to someone on it. If he reaches out, do try, will you? As for Giada, well, clearly Giada is a gem. As for me, well, I'm just as riveting as you, but the boys are giving me a run for my money.
I'm the least interesting of our group, and Giada's lovely once you get past the dead parent. Oh my gosh.
Sentiment. You do strike me as a people person. Tell me, do you get along with all you meet?
A lot of friends back in Ader.
So, you'll be swarmed by well-wishers then, upon arriving home? And here I thought I had a wild youth exploring ruins. You might be putting me to shame, dearie. Quilici is quite good at knowing when to be sweet and when to be sour.
What the
Yatsli,
heck?
that's my surrogate father you're talking about? Spare my imagination, if you please.
Oh, you knew the risks when you came over uninvited, darling. It's on your head. Well, you've satisfied my curiosity.
She's
You know,
nuts.
Envoy, we've traveled enough that I think I've gotten a handle on your style. Style of fighting, I mean. Your fashion sense is more opaque. But listening to your
My
incantations,
fashion style's awesome,
they could
don't you
use some tightening
dare.
up. I could probably teach you a thing or two, if you're up for it. What do you say?
You always see the traps before I do. Can you show me what to look for? Let's sharpen our wits. Whatever you want to teach me, I'm ready to learn.
How about I show you a little bit of everything? What? Out of breath already? Talk to one of the boys. See if they can help with your stamina, dear. Well, I've taught you all I can. Let's hope you put it to good use.
What'd you give me? Let's see if I can guess. Intellect and perception.
There's my... Don't let the bedbugs bite, dearie.
Okay, Marius, let's talk.
I know what you're gonna say. Marius, you need to slow down. Think about your feelings. Well, I don't want to think about my feelings. So just let me be alone for a bit. It is. And it isn't. I'm not sure what it is, really. Just the thought of going back to Galawain's tusks makes my heart feel like it's going to explode. I sweat. My ears ring. I can't breathe. When it seems like we're really heading there, I feel like I'm dying. Right. Thanks. I understand not wanting to go back, but why can't I just thinking about it makes me feel ill. I need some time alone, Envoy. I need to get some rest. I'll be ready to go when the time comes.
I was gonna say, where the heck did you go?
Envoy, what do you need? Let's make sure they're not listening. We already talked about Kai. Did you want to know about Giada or Yatsley? Giada's a mystery to me. Animancers give me the Vrikas, and for good reason. Most of them would just as soon turn your soul into jewelry as look at you. Giada seems different. She's smart, thoughtful, and she's got a spine, too. You can tell when someone needs extra help out here, and she doesn't. So, yeah, I don't understand her, but I guess I don't have to, really. Ask away.
Okay.
Well, I'm one of the very few people who spends most of their time out in the wilds and haven't gotten themselves killed yet. I know the difference between hay-bleed toxin and high-tox bloom, which is something you should be really thankful for. And you know the Balrog and the Grinning Balrog? No, but I am one of the few who have seen a Balrog and lived. Mostly because I had the brains to run the Dragu out of there. The key is survival. I understand that, and a lot of people don't.
You killed that?
And
No,
that's why
that
they're
was
dead,
not.
and I'm still here. We're gonna get you where you're going, Envoy. Alive and with as few blithe tail bites as possible. That, more or less, is all you need to know about me. Oh, you noticed. I don't know. I've heard stories all my life about the gods and magic, and they never seem to do any good for anyone.
But your skills and abilities seem like magic. How do you explain that?
It's just Pargrunan wilderness lore, developed over the centuries in Solace. Tricks, traps, gadgets, nothing more. But hey, if people want to think it's magic, then go ahead. I'm not gonna bend over backward just to seem internally consistent. Almost all of them. Andra pulling down the moon to destroy civilization. The Godhammer bomb. All that stuff down in the Deadfire. No one as fickle as those gods seem to be should ever be put in charge of reincarnation, I tell you that. Basically, the goddess Andra wanted a civilization dead, so she pulled down the moon to do it. They say Abidan shattered the moon to save the people, and then threw himself in the way of the largest shard. And for his interference, Andra built Abidan a statue as a tribute. Huh. Makes no sense at all. Somebody who was a prophet of Aethys decided to start a holy war. To stop him, his enemies built a giant bomb that could kill a god. Stories say the goddess Magrin helped them build it. Sounds about right to me. Anyway, the bomb went off and killed a lot of people. People who wouldn't have died if gods hadn't decided to bicker about.
Fair enough.
Right. More trouble than they're worth, if you ask me. Well, you asked, I answered. Feel free to cast all the spells and cry out to whatever gods you like. I won't stop you. Just don't expect me to join in.
Fair enough.
Same one you are. What kind of blessed question is that? Oh, huh, I see. I sometimes use Lember without really thinking about it. That's what you mean, right? Right. I hear Pargrunan all over the world speak it. I only know what I learned in Solace.
Can you teach it to me?
I barely realize I'm doing it anymore. If you want to learn Lember, you'll have to spend time in Solace. And I guess you'll get your chance for that soon enough. Right. Something like that. I'm sure you'll pick it up as we travel. It's not that blessed difficult. Yes, I did. The less we talk about that, the better. I see. Let's lay this out, Envoy. I don't need to know how many men you've killed to know you're more than capable in battle. Now, we just met, Envoy, and I'm here to do a job. Maybe we'll be best of friends someday, but this isn't that day. Best we just keep things professional. Thank you. Not everyone accepts that some things are best left in the past. Right, changing the subject. What do you need? Let's make sure they're not the only one we haven't talked to. I don't trust her any further than I could throw her, which honestly isn't that far. She actually goes down into these ruins on purpose, just to see what's down there, I guess? And now she's trying to lead us to the garden. Might as well be searching for WoW's wacky wagon of mysteries. I'm sure she knows what she's doing, but what if she doesn't? Oh, good. When I was a child in Solace, a warden named Alinka taught me the basics.
Let's keep talking, I guess.
What berries to eat, how to build a shelter, and so on. Later, I started going out on patrols, just to get experience in the wilds. By the time I was 15, I was going out on my own. I was usually part of a small patrol, maybe 4 wardens. We'd travel the roads in Galawain's tusks, and I was in charge of camp. We'd make sure the Zarops weren't getting restless, the roads were clear of bandits, and the lava flows weren't flooding. Turns out I was just good at surviving on my own, so I kept doing it, and I kept getting better at it.
That's good.
Well, good. Maybe show your appreciation by making sure Kai hangs his wet socks away from my tent. Anyway, what do you need? Pleasant dreams.
He does not seem happy. But maybe he'll open up later. But that was an episode of Talking. So I'm going to end it here. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider following. If you want to see more, go to my YouTube channel, Spiritual Zombo, where you can see the rest of this and anything else I play. If you don't see anything you like, please consider commenting or private messaging us something you want to see, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. So once again, thank you very much. Hope you believe me. I'll see you again. Thank you, and good night.